Did Kim Kardashian just say what I think she said? Did one of the most famous people on the planet really just tell millions of viewers that the moon landing was fake? And did she seriously cite TikTok as her source? Yes. Yes, she did. And the internet has absolutely lost its mind. On the latest episode of The Kardashians, Kim dropped a bombshell that has scientists, space enthusiasts, and basically anyone with a high school education shaking their heads in disbelief. She sat down with actress Sarah Paulson on the set of their new show All's Fair, and what started as a casual conversation about conspiracy theories turned into one of the most jaw-dropping moments of the season. Kim Kardashian, businesswoman, mother of 4, law student, and now apparently space exploration expert, has decided that the 1969 Apollo 11 moon landing never actually happened. And she's not keeping it to herself. She's actively trying to convince other people, sending them what she calls evidence, and doubling down on her claims even when challenged. So what exactly did Kim say? Why is she suddenly so convinced that one of humanity's greatest achievements was faked? And how is the internet reacting to all of this? Buckle up, because this story is wilder than you think. Let's start with what actually went down on the show. The October 30th episode of The Kardashians gave us a behind-the-scenes look at Kim filming her new Ryan Murphy legal drama All's Fair alongside Sarah Paulson. The two actresses were hanging out between takes, and Kim, being Kim, decided this was the perfect time to share her latest conspiracy theory obsession. "I'm sending you so far 1,000,000 articles with both Buzz Aldrin and the other one," Kim told Sarah, struggling for a second to even remember Neil Armstrong's name. You know, just one of the most famous astronauts in human history. No big deal. Sarah Paulson, to her credit, seemed intrigued. "Yes, do it," she replied, apparently ready to go down whatever rabbit hole Kim was about to lead her into. And that's when Kim started explaining her reasoning. She pulled up a video on her phone, showing it to Sarah and the cameras. This girl says, "What was the scariest moment?" And Buzz Aldrin goes, "There was no scary moment because it didn't happen. It could have been scary, but it wasn't because it didn't happen." Kim's interpretation? Buzz Aldrin has gotten old and is now slipping up, accidentally revealing the truth about the moon landing hoax. "So I think it didn't happen," she stated confidently. Sarah Paulson told Kim she was going to go on a massive deep dive to look into everything Kim was sending her. And honestly, we all need Sarah to report back, because if anyone can fact-check Kim Kardashian, it's Sarah Paulson. But Kim wasn't done. She doubled down in her confessional interview, speaking directly to the camera from her trailer. When a producer asked her to confirm that she doesn't believe astronauts walked on the moon, Kim didn't hesitate. "I don't think we did. I think it was fake." She went on to list all the classic moon landing conspiracy theory talking points. "I've seen a few videos of Buzz Aldrin talking about how it didn't happen. He says it all the time now, in interviews," she claimed. And then came the really questionable part. Kim started rattling off the supposed evidence. "Why does Buzz Aldrin say it didn't happen? There's no gravity on the moon. Why is the flag blowing? The shoes that they have in the museum that they wore on the moon have a different footprint than the photos. Why are there no stars?" These are not new arguments. These are the exact same debunked conspiracy theories that have been circulating for decades. Every single one of them has been explained repeatedly by scientists, astronauts, and space agencies. But Kim, she's got her source. And where did she get all this information? TikTok. Yes, you heard that right. When the producer asked Kim what she'd say to people who think she's crazy for believing this, she responded, "They're gonna say I'm crazy no matter what. But go to TikTok. See for yourself. Go to TikTok. See for yourself." That's Kim Kardashian's advice for conducting scientific research in 2025. Now, let's talk about what Kim got wrong, because there's a lot to unpack here. First and foremost, Buzz Aldrin has never said the moon landing didn't happen. The videos Kim is referencing have been taken completely out of context, chopped up, and manipulated to make it seem like he's admitting to a hoax. But that's not what happened at all. Reuters, the BBC, and multiple fact-checking organizations have thoroughly debunked these clips. Let me break down what actually happened in those interviews. The first clip Kim mentioned comes from a 2015 Q&A at Oxford University. When someone asked Buzz Aldrin what the scariest moment of the Apollo 11 mission was, he said, "Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary." But here's the part that conspiracy theorists always cut out. Aldrin went on to explain that the scariest thing that could have happened would have been discovering a broken circuit breaker on the lunar module, which actually did happen. He described how he used a pen to push the circuit breaker back into place, which sent power to the engine and allowed the crew to return to Earth. He wasn't saying the mission didn't happen. He was saying the scariest potential moment wasn't as scary as it could have been because they solved the problem. The second clip comes from the 2015 National Book Festival, where a young girl asked Aldrin why no one has been back to the moon in such a long time. His response? Because we didn't go there. And that's the way it happened. Again, the clip gets cut off right there, making it sound damning. But if you watch the full interview, Aldrin immediately continues explaining that we didn't keep going back. Because of funding, because priorities changed, because we needed new equipment and resources instead of repeating the same missions. He was explaining why we stopped going to the moon, not denying that we ever went in the first place. These videos have been spliced, edited, and stripped of all context to fuel conspiracy theories. And Kim Kardashian just repeated them to millions of people on national television. As for the other so-called evidence Kim mentioned, all of it has been explained countless times. The flag appears to be blowing because it's held up by a horizontal rod at the top, not because there's wind on the moon. The footprints look different because astronauts wore protective boots over their shoes, and those outer boots were left on the moon to reduce weight for the return trip. The stars aren't visible in the photos because of the camera exposure settings needed to photograph the bright lunar surface. These aren't mysteries. These are basic facts that have been available for over 50 years. But when you get your information from TikTok instead of, actual scientists, I guess this is what happens. And here's the kicker. Buzz Aldrin is 95 years old. He literally walked on the moon in 1969. On July 20th of this year, he posted on social media commemorating the 56th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing. July 20, 1969. Contact light, engine stop. The Apollo 11 lunar module Eagle touched down at Tranquility Base on the moon, he wrote. A few hours later, Neil Armstrong and I stepped foot on the moon, with Michael Collins orbiting close by. An achievement resulting from years of incalculable effort, commitment, and teamwork. That doesn't sound like someone who's slipping up and accidentally revealing a decades-long conspiracy. That sounds like a man who's incredibly proud of what he accomplished. So how has the internet reacted to all of this? Oh, it's been a field day. Social media has absolutely exploded with reactions ranging from hilarious mockery to genuine concern about the spread of misinformation. One person tweeted, "Kim Kardashian getting her scientific information from TikTok explains so much about the state of the world right now." Another wrote, "Not Kim Kardashian telling Sarah Paulson to do a deep dive on moon landing conspiracies, like she's about to uncover some hidden truth that scientists somehow missed." Some people pointed out the irony of Kim being a law student, while simultaneously dismissing decades of documented evidence. Kim is literally studying law but thinks TikTok is a credible source for historical events. Make it make sense. Others were more direct. Kim Kardashian saying go to TikTok, see for yourself about the moon landing is like saying go to a fortune cookie for medical advice. But there were also people defending Kim, arguing that everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and that questioning official narratives is actually a good thing. Though most scientists would probably tell you there's a difference between healthy skepticism and ignoring mountains of evidence. One particularly viral tweet summed it up perfectly. Kim Kardashian thinks the moon landing was fake, but has no problem believing her own makeup line can change your life. Priorities. And let's talk about the bigger picture here for a second. Because this isn't just about Kim Kardashian being wrong about space history. This is about how misinformation spreads in the age of social media. When someone with Kim's level of influence, someone with hundreds of millions of followers across multiple platforms, promotes a conspiracy theory on a major streaming show, it has consequences. There are people who will watch that episode and take Kim's words at face value. There are people who will go to TikTok, like she suggested, and find those same out-of-context clips and believe them. There are young people who might not have learned about the Apollo missions in school yet, and this could be their first introduction to one of humanity's greatest achievements, filtered through the lens of conspiracy theories. And that's dangerous. Not because it's the end of the world if some people don't believe in the moon landing, but because it represents a larger erosion of trust in science, in evidence, in expertise. It's the same mindset that leads to people rejecting vaccines, dismissing climate change, and believing in flat Earth theories. Kim Kardashian has a platform. She has influence. And with that comes responsibility. Whether she likes it or not, whether she thinks people should take her seriously or not, millions of people do. And when she tells those millions to get their information from TikTok instead of credible sources, that's a problem. Now, to be fair, Kim did seem somewhat self-aware about how this would be received. When the producer asked what she'd say to people who call her crazy, she acknowledged, "They're gonna say I'm crazy no matter what." There's a certain level of not caring about public opinion that you have to admire, even if she's completely wrong about the actual facts. And in a weird way, this whole situation is very on brand for the Kardashians. This is a family that built an empire on being talked about, on generating headlines, on keeping people engaged and arguing and discussing. Whether this was a genuine belief or a calculated move to create buzz around the show, it's certainly working. Everyone's talking about it. But at the end of the day, the facts remain the facts. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the moon. Michael Collins orbited above in the command module. It happened. The evidence is overwhelming. There are thousands of photographs, hours of video footage, moon rocks that have been studied by scientists around the world, and the testimony of hundreds of thousands of NASA employees who worked on the Apollo program. You know what there isn't evidence of? A massive conspiracy involving hundreds of thousands of people that has somehow remained secret for over 50 years. You know what isn't a reliable source of historical information? TikTok. So what happens next? Will Kim double down on this conspiracy theory? Or will someone in her orbit talk some sense into her? Will Sarah Paulson complete her deep dive and report back with the actual facts? Will Buzz Aldrin respond to these claims? The New York Post reached out to Buzz Aldrin's representatives for comment, but as of now, there's been no response. And honestly, the man is 95 years old and has already spent decades defending his historic achievement against conspiracy theorists. He shouldn't have to keep doing it. What we do know is that this episode has sparked a much larger conversation about celebrity influence, scientific literacy, and where we get our information from. And maybe that's not entirely a bad thing. Maybe this whole situation can be a teaching moment about the importance of fact-checking, of looking for credible sources, of understanding context before sharing information. Or maybe people will just keep watching the Kardashians for the drama and not take scientific advice from reality TV stars. That would probably be the smarter move. At the end of the day, Kim Kardashian is entitled to believe whatever she wants. But when you have a platform as massive as hers when you're on a show watched by millions, when young people look up to you and follow your lead, maybe just maybe it's worth doing a little more research than scrolling through TikTok. The moon landing happened. Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon. Neil Armstrong took those first historic steps. And no amount of out-of-context video clips or conspiracy theories can change that. But hey, at least we got one of the wildest Kardashians episodes in recent memory, and the internet got a whole lot of content to react to. So in that sense, mission accomplished, Kim. Just not the same kind of mission as Apollo 11.